What is up guys, TopTierYugioh here, and today I've got a Salamangreat deck profile. And so the thing that I love about Salamangreats is its consistency. It's able to play every single game, and that puts you as a player in position to win a lot of games if you play correctly. And because of this, Salamangreat continue to be a force in the metagame for a relatively cheap price. And in this profile, I'm going to show you an optimized deck list for the current format. But before getting into the profile, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to about 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and so every single like and subscription counts. It's a free and easy way to help out the channel, and I think you're going to enjoy this content a lot. I upload about 3 times per week with a lot of deck profiles, and so if you have any decks that you would like to see, let me know down in the comment section below. I'm always open to suggestions, but let's go ahead and get into this deck list. Alright, so starting with the Salamangreat Engine, we are going to start with the best Salamangreat monster, with that being Lord Gazelle, best card in the deck. Then we play 1 copy of Circle to search Gazelle, 3 copies of Signet Mining, which can both search and trigger Gazelle, which is pretty cool. And then we have 3 copies of Lady Debug. And so I went with Lady Debug over Flame Buffalo because Lady Debug guarantees you getting access to Gazelle, which again is the most important and best card in this entire archetype. And so getting to Gazelle early and as soon as possible really maximizes your chances at winning games, in my opinion, because that again is what allows you to play. When you don't have access to Gazelle, it's very difficult to navigate through your engine, especially when playing against more powerful decks like Dinos, Dragon Links, Infernoble Knights. Against those decks, you have to have your engine running at 100%. And then you need all of your utility cards to come in on top of that in order to be able to surmount those decks. And a big part of that is again having access to Gazelle. And I felt that Lady Debug was the best card for getting you there outside of like mining, Circle, and drawing Gazelle itself. But we do also have 2 copies of Foxy, which plays a similar role to where it can be a normal summon way to potentially get you to Gazelle. But I don't like lumping Foxy in with the other 8 cards because it's not guaranteed to get you to Gazelle, similar to Buffalo. But at least Foxy has another purpose in the deck to where once it's in the graveyard, you can use it to destroy face-up spells and traps such as the Buster Lock, which is huge, Lost Worlds, Meltdowns, which can be big, Shaddoll Schisms. There's a lot of face-up spells and traps right now that you can destroy, and that makes Foxy really powerful. And even if you're not destroying things, getting that extra summon out the grave is just useful for linking up into your various link plays. And so Foxy's really good. With that, we also have 2 copies of Jack Jaguar and 2 copies of Spinny, both of which also summon themselves back from the grave along with Foxy. That really allows this engine to play from both the hand and from the grave, and it makes it to where if you can survive past turn 1, you have so much gas on turns 2 and 3 once you get everything in your grave, because then you're playing with like Gazelle in hand and everything else from grave. It's kind of nuts actually. And then to wrap things up for the monsters, we do have 1 copy of Falco, which is also a great card for playing from the grave, as well as recycling your spells and traps. So Falco is also another really awesome card in this deck, and I used to hate it at first. Like, I used to hate that it didn't just summon itself back for free like Jaguar and Spinny do, but bouncing back Gazelles and other cards to your hand is also pretty good. So that's pretty much it for these Salamangreat monsters. For the Salamangreat spells and traps, we have 3 copies of Will. And I see a lot of builds only playing 2, but I felt that 3 was necessary in this current format because of the prevalence of both Nibiru and Gamma. Both of those are going to remove your salad monsters from board. That's going to cut off your spells and traps and cut off a lot of your engine. And it's very important to be able to get them back online. And it felt to me that playing 3 copies of Will was the best way to do that. And so I do really enjoy these 3 copies. After that, we have the 1 mandatory copy of Sanctuary, and then 1 Rage and 1 Roar. So next, for the hand traps, we're playing 3 copies of Ash. Ash is really good right now because it's so versatile, but also being a fire monster means you can continuously add it back to your hand with Sunlight Wolf, and that means you have free, easy disruption for the entire game. And when that happens, it's usually like an auto win because it means that you're so far ahead you're adding back Ash, and that's just pretty crazy. Next, we have 3 copies of Nibiru. I think it's probably one of the most impactful hand traps right now. And then finally, 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. And so that's it for the hand traps. I did consider playing Gamma as well, but Gamma, in my opinion, felt so dead in your hand when you're going first. And this is a going first deck, and while it's amazing going second, like while Gamma is amazing going second, I just didn't think it fit in this deck very well. And then finally, to wrap up the main deck, we are playing 3 copies of Parallel Exceed. 1 card free rank 4s is always nice. 3 copies of Pot of Desires for consistency, 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talents, which help us play through Nib and other hand traps very easily, as well as go second, can help us break boards or draw further into our engine, so that's a very good option. And then finally 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. Cosmic Cyclone, in my opinion, is one of the most versatile tech cards of this current format, and I think it's really good against most matchups, whether you're going first or going second. At least against all of the top decks, it's actually pretty good. And so good, in fact, to where if you didn't want to play Triple Tactics Talents, I would replace both of those with probably the 3rd copy of Cosmic Cyclone, and then maybe an Imperial Order. That'd be an option. Or could you just like a really strong one of maybe Pankratops would also be a good option. I keep thinking Heavy Storm Duster, but Harpy's Feather Duster, that'd be another good option. Or you could just play a few more hand traps. Like you could replace both of those with 2 copies of Ogre or Veiler or Ghost Mourner and Moonlight Chill. There are a couple different options that you could play. I think as long as you're playing like the main like 35 to 36 cards in the deck, you can't really go wrong with the others. Oh, you could also replace these with another copy of Rage and Roar if you want to play more of those. So yeah, lots of options for Triple Tactics Talents. It isn't like a card that you should feel like you need to play in this deck in order to compete. You're going to be completely fine without it, so don't even worry about it. But I do think it's a great option if you do have it. If you have it, you should play it, but if not, you're good anyways. And so that's pretty much it for the main deck. It is 40 cards, and so let's go ahead and move into the extra deck. Alright, for the extra deck we have 3 copies of Balinx, 3 copies of Sunlight Wolf, 2 copies of Heat Leo. I am considering dropping one of them. The second one doesn't come up too often, and when it does, you usually can just shuffle back the first with Jack Jaguar. However, yeah, I don't know what's holding me back, but I think you should probably cut one for something else. Then we have, let's see, 1 copy of Update Jammer, 1 Transcode Talker, Borload Dragon, and then Accesscode Talker. Most of this I think is pretty standard. The only thing that maybe isn't is the Borload Dragon, but I really like Borload for situations when you don't have game with access code. So if you're going against like a Dragoon, for example, and you can't destroy it with the effects, you're not attacking directly, and so you're not going to be able to have game attacking through maybe the Dragoon. In that case, sometimes it's better to just Borload, take a bunch of cards, and then just have so much board advantage that it doesn't matter that you didn't put as much like life point damage on board. And so sometimes Borload's really good like that. It does come up for sure. So 1 copy of Borload, but this is definitely like a tech spot. You could play anything else if you thought it was, you know, a better option. I know that Lingaribo, the level 1 that negates traps, that requires a level 4 or lower Cyberse. That card is also pretty popular. It's pretty usable. Great for negating Imperm and playing through other back row. I don't think this many back row to play through this format except for Imperm, so I don't really think it's too necessary, but it's an option. I know Splash Mage is also played. That's a pretty good card. You could... Nah, I don't really like Nightmare Phoenix either. Unicorn could be played. That's a solid card for dealing with established boards. Yeah, so you have a couple of really good options in the extra deck. The space isn't too tight. You could also place some Super Poly targets if you choose to play Super Poly. A lot of space here in the extra deck. And then finally, I am playing 3 Xyz monsters, 1 Dweller, 1 Baguska, and then 1 Dugares. Dweller and Baguska are pretty standard. I completely forgot Baguska existed the other day, and I was playing against Salad actually, and I let them go into a rank 4. They summoned Baguska, and I just could not play through it. So Baguska is really awesome. Great card. Dugares is probably the only one that isn't standard though for this archetype. And I like Dugares in this deck because it comes up sometimes when you just need to put extra damage on board. You can, double one of your monster's attacks. Sometimes that's just game. Or if you need to draw into your side cards more often, that means that you have potentially Triple Tactics Talents, but you also have your Desires, as well as now Dugares to draw into your sided cards. So you can draw, well, we'll see the side deck later, but sometimes it is more important to see those sided cards than it is to see main deck cards. And so I do like Dugares for that, because in some matchups, especially against Dragon Link, for example, I don't think that Dweller or Baguska is particularly powerful. And I mean, Dweller's good in that matchup. They do have a lot of graveyard effects, like you're stopping Black Metal Dragon and the baby dragons up front, but at the same time, they can still play through a Dweller really, really well. So I'd rather just like draw into my sided cards instead. So that's one matchup where I'd rather go into Gutierrez actually. But yeah, it comes up, so give it a shot. Let me know what you think about it. But that's pretty much it for the extra deck. Since we were talking about side deck cards, let's go ahead and move on to the side deck. For the side deck, we have 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird, 3 copies of Artifact Lancia, 1 copy of Artifact Scythe, 3 copies of Sanctum, the 3rd Cosmic Cyclone, Harpy's Feather Duster, and then 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More. However, I am considering dropping the Dark Ruler No More for Forbidden Droplets. I'm still kind of testing them both back and forth, but the benefit of Droplets is that you're halving the attack, so it's easier to get over boards. You're able to still do damage, so you can potentially OTK opponents. And it's a quick, not a quick effect, but a quick play spell. And so it can be used in various different ways because of that. However, it does require you to discard, which on one hand can be good for setting up your graveyard monsters, but on the other hand, you don't always have the free resources to do that. And so it's kind of tricky to where Dark Ruler No More is very free and easy to use. And so I have been playing that mainly, but again, I'm thinking of switching the droplets. However, another consideration is that when you're going second, so many of the top decks are able to take a card out of your hand with Smoke Grenade. It seems that Dragon Link is sort of hedging towards Smoke Grenade. We all know Infernoble Knights plays Smoke Grenade, and there are even some other decks that can abuse Smoke Grenade pretty well, to where it's like playing cards to break opponents' boards isn't always the best. Sometimes you just need to stop them from making it. And it makes me feel that maybe Gamma and Driver could actually be better in the side just for going second against combo. So that is another consideration. We do already have the Droll and Lockbird for most combo decks, but still, you still maybe want more, because if they actually full combo, it's very, very hard to come back into the game. And so that's something else you might want to consider. But this is the side deck that I've been playing and having a lot of fun and success with. And so, of course, let me know what you think about the side deck as well. It's all very subjective, you know, what you prefer, what you're playing against in your local metagame, what your friend group is playing or your testing group is playing. The side deck is very, again, subjective. But regardless of the cards in your side deck, Salamangreat is consistent enough to get you to your engine and then allow you to also draw into those sided cards in games 2 and 3 to really give you a chance at winning. But alright guys, that is pretty much it for this Salamangreat deck profile. Let me know what you think about it down in the comment section below. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, tips, tricks, suggestions, or anything else, again, let me know down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot and I really would appreciate it. But as always guys, see you in the next video.